Ash wanders through the curtain of flowers for about the third time today, with the goal of, well, seeing Jin. Things have been interesting around the Ban Village. There's been quite a distinct hustle and bustle. Despite the relative silence of everybody, it's been rowdy and active. Finding Jin has been quite difficult, as Ban continuously pass by you and sort of shove you off. It appears that the spirit folk has been very busy.
I continue forward, pushing past another curtain of flowers.
Some get caught in your hair.
About. That's fine, I leave them there. Glancing about for the nearest spirit folk. Having spotted one, I immediately try and catch it before it disappears behind another corner.
It's carrying a crate full of shit.
I grab the Ban on the shoulder. Hey, have you seen Jin anywhere?
It turns around, the crate jingles with malice.
I stare down at the crate. What's in the crate? No. Where's Jin?
The Ban slowly lifts the crate, struggling to hold it in one arm. You can see it visually struggle under the weight of lifting this thing under one arm, and it's...
Here. I grab one so that it can do whatever it's doing.
It starts to... The crate jingles. It is immensely heavy. You help support it.
Oh, jeez.
The three collected arms manage to support it, and the Ban points past you into a house immediately to your back.
Okay, well, thank you. You're sure Jin is in there?
The figure nods.
Okay, good. I've been trying to find him for forever, but he's just been slippery recently. Anyway, thank you.
You release the crate. The Ban struggles under the weight once again, partially twisting, turning, and locking its knees properly to contain the massive bulk.
Well, good luck with whatever that is. Good luck. I turn around and walk towards the house.
You overhear a little bit of a conversation as you press yourself against the door, which is interesting because, well, you've grown quite used to the silence of the Ban Village. You hear Jin speaking up. Really, the entire city. Intriguing.
Jin?
Yes, who is it?
It's Ash.
Ah, yes. It's a courtesy. Please, come in, Ash. You are one of the 3 individuals in this entire village that's capable of speaking.
Yeah, pretty distinct voice aside from Horvin's. Anyway, I've been looking for you, Jin.
Yes, indeed, you have.
You knew I was looking for you.
Yes, but you must understand, I was busy with various matters in the village.
Right. Busy. Too busy to talk about how that raid went?
Specifically talking about how that raid went.
So
I've been receiving communiques from the outside world.
About what?
About the aftermath of that particular misadventure.
I wanted to talk about the aftermath of that misadventure before... Okay, what are they saying?
For the most part, it seems that the clans are in quite a tizzy.
Okay, great. That's exactly what I was hoping wouldn't happen. Alright, Jin, we really need to talk. I'm just gonna come out with it. Whose idea was it to send the Ban?
You notice the figure behind Jin start to move towards you. He has a certain menace to his movements, as if he doesn't quite like the tone you're taking with Jin. Jin, very peacefully, calmly, grin remaining always the same, slowly extends a hand and the Ban stands down.
I glance over at the Ban, narrow my eyes, turn back to Jin, but rest my elbow on the hilt of my blade. Jin, whose idea was it to send the Ban?
Mine, of course. I sent you a...
Great, it was your idea to send the Ban. Are they under your command?
No, in this particular case, I sent a force of volunteers. Those who were interested in the same task that you were. All swore up and down that they would do the best to aid you in your noble goal.
Do their best to aid me? Do you have any idea what happened during that mission?
From what I understand, 2 of them died heroically, facing down some powerful...
Heroically! Jin, they didn't need to die. Okay. Can you... I turn to the other Ban. Could you maybe give us some privacy?
The Ban continues to stare at you. Forgive me for seeming rude myself, but this is one of my most trusted lieutenants. We were in the middle of discussing strategy coming up. I hope you understand.
Strategy? For what?
Strategy on what to do next, of course.
Right, what to do next. I don't understand how any of it's going to pay off if none of your lieutenants or your soldiers, I'm guessing, don't... If they don't listen to you, it's not gonna pay off, Jin. I went into that city...
The band starts again. Jin just narrows his eyes at him.
I glare at him. Listen, Jin, I went into that city and gave very specific instructions on what to do, and on several occasions, and after several reprimands, they continued to kill people. The thing that I specifically told them not to do.
He stares back at his lieutenant. You notice a more troubling expression in his eyes for a moment, but it quickly fades. Kill people.
Yes.
Thought that you said, he says, staring at the band, that the only casualties suffered were on our side.
They were on our side. Because I made certain that none of the Jin Collins died. Because if any of the Jin Collins died, the clan leaders would be up in arms about it. I had hoped to make it out of the city without them realizing or blatantly seeing that it was the band who destroyed the pillar. But it was made real hard whenever the band that came with, and Horovin, ruined everything almost from the get-go.
In that regard, I thank you for your service, my dear sister. He bows slightly. Horovin, on the other hand, is an entirely separate issue.
Yes, and Horovin isn't what we're talking about right now.
No, are you sure that these individuals weren't part of Horovin's faction?
Horovin has a faction here?
Of course. Horovin has a faction amongst the clans, too.
Oh, gods. I traded teams with him.
Horovin is a man that cannot be easily trusted.
Okay, but Horovin isn't what we're talking about right now. What I want to know is why those bands seemed so bloodthirsty. Them being part of Horovin's faction makes me even more surprised that they were so eager to kill people. He's always so middle of the road. He's not one to kill. I have a hard time believing that some of Horovin's people would take such delight in killing people.
Jin slowly taps the table in front of him, staring at you, his eyes twinkling slightly. Names, I suppose, aren't exactly proper for them. What masks were the individuals wearing that you specifically had issue with?
A fox mask and a gorilla mask.
I believe, unless I'm mistaken, of course, that the individuals you're talking about are Alban and Relban.
Okay.
Are you familiar with an Orion name scheme?
Not entirely. I know that you earned names here.
Do you know what the name Ban means, if you carry it proudly in your name?
No, but I know that a lot of people seem to have it.
It means in the past you've killed one of the bands successfully, brought its mask back as a trophy.
What were they doing? What?
Understand that most of the volunteers we receive are former soldiers. They're people who are disgusted by their former lives, who choose to take a vow of silence and servitude for the sake of the spirit folk they wrongly punished. I don't pretend to understand what's going on in the hearts of these individuals who come to me. I'll say it again. They were volunteers and they bravely lost their lives for the spirit folk's cause.
Right. Bravely lost their lives for the spirit folk's cause due to a situation that didn't need to happen. And Jin, you said you wouldn't pretend to understand their hearts, but have you even tried?
You can sense a growing feeling of animosity from the individual behind Jin. However, Jin maintains his face, obnoxiously so. It sets something in you on edge.
I grind my teeth.
In the past, I believe you know, I considered myself to be something of a god of this land. A leader, one of the 4 great kings of Honorant. At the time, I believed that I thoroughly understood my people. When the iconoclasm came, when the humans so viciously overthrew my kin, I alone escaped because my retainers allowed me to go. Humans are complicated.
That's a non-answer, Jin. You just said that people are hard. You didn't say that you tried to understand them or not.
I try, of course. Who doesn't?
Okay, good. You try. But you're not doing anything with it, Jin. Like, you can't just have people so disorganized here. Like, you say you try, but to what end? If you try but nothing comes of it, then what's the point? You have a responsibility here, Jin. You're kind of like a clan leader to them. If not literally exactly a clan leader to them. You need to, in some way, try to understand them and help them, teach them something.
Saying that I'm a clan leader isn't entirely wrong. The ban have often been fancied and I believe reported as the secret fourth clan.
Yeah, I roll my eyes.
But in the same regard, everyone who joins, every ban who wishes to lend aid to the cause, I don't believe I could effectively teach or guide them in the same way that a clan leader could. I don't come from the same background, the same place.
Then what's your purpose here, Jin?
My purpose, of course, is to provide a solid home for the humans and the spirit folk that wish to coexist.
You've got people lost, and spirits lost, coming to you, looking for shelter, looking for somewhere to be safe. They're not just lost physically, Jin, spiritually as well. You have to take responsibility for that.
The figure behind Jin points to his gut repeatedly with his thumb.
I stare at him.
I think my friend here is saying that I do, in fact, guide them spiritually.
Uh-huh. I don't know in what way, but from what I saw whenever I went to Onerant on that mission that you sent me on, that I volunteered for, I would certainly say that they are not spiritually sound. I saw turmoil.
I think you should know that turmoil and loathing are not quite the same thing.
This is just wordplay, Jin. You understand my meaning. Stop dancing around it.
And I believe you, too, understand mine. Some of the individuals that come here harbor a deep resentment against the clans. It's not something I can simply wash away by guiding them spiritually. There is hatred here, born by this country's exact nature. That is what I want to provide a reprieve for. I find it truly unfortunate that there are still those who are so warped by the state of things amongst my number, but, well, that's what I'm fighting so hard against.
So you're providing a home for all these people full of such hatred.
Mm-hmm.
You knew that all of them had that going into that mission. Whether they were part of Horovin's group or not, you knew that each one of those ban held such hatred in them that they were willing to kill Anorians even if it meant them dying. And you didn't say anything to me.
Ash, do you know, when you meet a person, what they're truly and utterly capable of? From what I understand, Horovin himself went off on his own separate mission during the...
Yes, but we're not talking about Horovin right now.
No, that is merely my example. When humans and spirits both are exposed to a tense or tight situation, it's never quite clear exactly how they'll act. As I said, these were volunteers who wished to go out. Perhaps I should have alerted you to the fact that they went of their own will. They weren't assigned. Maybe that was...
Perhaps you should have alerted me that they were so eager to kill the Anorians. Perhaps I should have gone by myself. I'm beginning to question what your true motive for that mission was, Jin. I don't think it was just to destroy that tower. I think you were trying to start something.
My true motive, of course, was to prevent the sealing of further spirits. On what grounds do you think you can question me exactly? His eyes narrow for a moment.
What do you mean?
Do you believe you have a body of evidence to directly contradict what I've been telling you so far?
I don't have anything specific, no.
Then might I advise you that your feelings at the moment are simply agitation for the way that things went. I too get worked up when a plan doesn't work out perfectly. This is why I've been spending all morning communicating with others, trying to make something of it.
Look, I don't have evidence, but it seems pretty clear to me. You left out a lot of important information going into this. I don't know why you did it. I have a couple guesses. Regardless of why you did it, I'm frustrated, Jin. I'm incredibly frustrated. I specifically talked to you about not using my powers because... And yet here we are, a day later, having this conversation about how I had to save people's lives in Oneron to stop something huge from starting.
He simply stares, watching your reaction with a difficult-to-read expression. His smirk remains somewhat static. Ah, yes, and such a shame it was how things went.
You don't sound at all convincing, Jin.
Jin, shaking his head slightly, turns back to the table. Was there anything else you wish to communicate with me, my dear sister?
Yes, Jin. I'm sick of pretty words. I want something tangible that I can use to help deal with my problem. I want something that isn't just, oh, do what you feel is right. I stare pointedly at Jin. I want something that will actually help me.
His smirk stops for a moment, just a moment. Those who wish to gain power quickly often regret the choices they've made. Are you sure about this?
I don't want power. I want
He
something
stares
that will
you
make...
dead in the eyes. Power over your fate is a power in itself, Ash.
If having at least a little bit of say in how my life goes is having power over my fate, then yes, I want power. I want to be able to live and help people without constantly hurting.
Then keep that determination in mind. Do you still have that mask I gave you?
Yes, I do.
He extends his hand, still sitting, staring up at you, bemused expression on his face.
I hand him the mask.
Now, I'll have you know that this is a gift unlike any other I've ever bestowed on any members of the band. This is in special deference for the sacrifices you made on that mission. Your efforts did not go unappreciated. He raises one hand above the mask. Slowly something pools at the base of his palm. It extends downwards, a line of quicksilver, hardening, pointing downwards like a needle. It flashes blood red and buries itself in the mask. A pinch of pure God's blood is worth 1,000 ships. The mask begins to emanate with an ethereal power.
What? What did you do?
A scintillating pattern runs across the surface, altering its coloration and hue. It sets at a solid, robust tone.
What did you just do?
As I said, a peerless gift above all others. It's a section of my own power. Use it as you see fit.
Thank you. I reach out for the mask.
He hands it back to you. The second you touch it, you feel something course through your body. It feels like nature sings across your skin. It's an odd sensation. A little much. It's a little much. It's very a lot of much. It's a lot of much.
I quickly return it to my pack as my hairs begin standing on end. I'm frustrated about what happened, but I still want to help the spirits. I still want Onorant to have a better future. I want to make things right. Okay? And to do that, there needs to be communication.
His mouth splits open and a small giggle emerges. Communication. I understand what you're saying, but it's an interesting phrase to use amongst the band.
I know. I'm still figuring out all the posing things. At the very least, I can talk to you and I can talk to Horovin for what good that will do.
Of course, Ash. You can speak to me at any time.
Yeah, well, sometimes I feel like talking to you is about as useful as talking to Horovin.
The man straight up looks like he's going to kill you.
I stare at Jin pointedly. So look, Jin, I'm willing to help, but you need to be upfront about what's happening, okay?
Of course, Ash.
I sigh, shake my head, and turn towards the door. Thank you, Jin.
I look forward to cooperating with you in the days to come.
Me too, and I hope things go better than they did before.
Ash slowly pushes the door shut. As the door closes, the boar-masked man whirls around and punches the wall with all of his might. Jin, very calmly and slowly, lets out an even laugh that gains in tempo as he settles down. He stands up, shaking himself off slightly. The band stares at him with a very meaningful look. I'm not so shallow as to get worked up from the statements of a single, exceedingly talented, unique, but relatively self-centered individual. He chuckles to himself, shaking his head. He moves over to the chest and very quickly pulls at the top of his strange tank top-like device. The band seems taken aback. Ah yes, I'm going to the baths. He points sideways back at the boar. We're going to be seeing a lot of company.